What's up, guys? Today we got the Galaxy S21 Ultra versus the S25 Ultra here. So very curious to see what S21 Ultra users are thinking about. And let's just go over all of the, improvements here and see if it's enough for you guys to upgrade. Let's start off with the trade-in for the unlocked model here. Samsung is giving you $500 for your S21 Ultra. And I'm sure they'll be having carrier deals and stuff like that, but still, that is still a significant amount of money you'll pay even if you trade it in. So is it worth it? Let's talk about the actual hardware here. The S21 Ultra still has some very good looking hardware. It's one of my favorite designs, and it's one of my favorite phones as far as being very comfortable. I still think this phone is way more comfortable than the S25 Ultra here. Looks like the S25, and I think the reason is because it's a little bit... Yeah, it's a little bit wider, and it's a little bit like more squared off on the sides here, and the S21 kind of like curves right here. So the S21 is way more comfortable to me. So yeah, the S25 Ultra has gotten more comfortable because it's not as boxy and sharp. But yeah, the S21 is just extremely comfortable considering the fact that it's a a much bigger phone. So people with smaller hands, I always say this is a very comfortable phone even though it's big. As far as the camera design, you can see that they basically just got rid of the cutout here on the S25 Ultra here. They're both matte finish, IP68 dust and water resistant, and you also do have the pen functionality with the S21 Ultra. The pen does work. You can still use all the pen features, but it's just not built into the phone. And then to do the air actions and stuff, you have to actually have like the S Pen that they sell separately. You can get the S Pen case with this phone, and then you can do like the air actions and stuff like that. This is just just a regular S Pen from the S23 have sitting here. But yeah, you can still do that on the S25. As we know about, I've been going over, you do not have the air actions on here anymore, so you can't use the Bluetooth capabilities with this pen anymore. So you can't take photos and skip music with the button. So yeah, so that is going to be technically a downgrade. You can't actually use the Bluetooth functionality on the S25 anymore. Alright, so let's talk about the actual display upgrade here. It's kind of a minor display upgrade, so we'll start with the S21 Ultra. You do have a dynamic AMOLED display, 120Hz HDR10+, 1500 nits peak brightness here. It's a 6.8-inch 1440p panel at 515 for the PPI Gorilla Glass Victus. And then on the S25, the upgrade here, you now have a 6.9-inch display, so slightly bigger. It is now dynamic LTPO display. It's 120 Hz and it's 2600 nits HDR10+. And then it is also 1440p 498 for the PPI. You do have a little bit of a slimmer bezels on the S25 Ultra, especially you can kind of see it at the bottom. But for the most part here, I guess like the biggest difference is really going to be, one, it's a flat display, and then two, it has a higher max brightness, and really that's about it. The slimmer bezels are really just more for aesthetics and stuff like that. Yeah, the S21 Ultra does have a slightly curved panel. It's not a dramatic curve, but it is a curved panel. But yeah, that's it. The actual display quality looks exactly the same. So there's no difference as far as like the quality of these panels. So yeah, so I would say, if you're not like outdoors a lot in direct sunlight, you really don't need to upgrade for a display. It's not really that much better. Like you can't really tell the difference, honestly. And as far as like holding the phones, like I said, the S21 Ultra to me is just easier to hold. So yeah, so I think the display difference is extremely minimal here. Now you do have the anti-reflecting coating thing on here, as you guys can see. So it can kind of reflect light a little bit more so you don't get those glares. And it definitely does work. It does do a pretty good job at that. But like I said, it's kind of a minimal update for I think most people. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the CPU and the overall speed of these two phones. So the Android 15 update will be coming to the S21 Ultra. It will be the last majorOS update. You will have the 7 years of majorOS updates on the S25 here, so that'll be kind of a nice thing to have. And then you also will get security patches afterwards. But this is currently on Android 14. This is on Android 15. As you guys can see, the Geekbench score difference here is a pretty nice difference here. And then we also do have on here the Snapdragon 888 processor, 128 gigs of internal storage, and then 12 gigs of RAM. And then on the S25, we do have the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, and then we have 256 gigs and 12 gigs of RAM on the base model. And here is the GPU score as well. So you guys can see a very big jump when it comes to the GPU performance here. So basically, this translates to pretty much people who are very much power users. When it comes to actually loading up applications, the S21 still does a pretty decent job here. As you can see, it pretty much feels on par with the S25. But yeah, it is going to be maybe a second behind in terms of opening applications. It's not really a big deal, but as you guys can see, those animations are still very smooth. And I will do a full speed test after I'm done with my main comparisons. But as you guys can see, it's not really like that big of a difference here. And that's not the right tempo run. Let's do this one. Okay, so as you guys see, not a huge difference, right? You guys can see the animations still pretty smooth, but I think once the One UI 7 update comes, I think the S21 Ultra will be, you know, even smoother and a little bit faster as well. So that'll be something to definitely look out for. But yeah, I would say the speed here, as you guys can see, is very minimal. All right, so this is where you guys will see like that difference here. And it really has to do with, one, the S25 Ultra is not going to heat up as much as the Snapdragon 888 processor when you're doing more intense tasks like long period of gaming, you know, recording high res, and also emulators, just anything that's intense that needs like a lot of power. If you're more of a power user, video editing, then definitely this is a pretty good improvement here. We can play PUBG, 120 frames here. The S21 Ultra can still play PUBG at pretty good settings. I think it's still like 90 frames here. Okay. And let's check. Yeah, HDR Extreme. Yeah, you can still play at Smooth Extreme. And yeah, it does a fantastic job. So I would say if you're more on the casual side of gaming, then yeah, you can still come in here and game really well on the S21 Ultra. But that would be the biggest difference is the heating, and then also just if you're doing more intense stuff like you're editing a 4K video, the export times will be a lot shorter on the S25 Ultra. Like I said, less just overall better gaming performance when it comes to frame rates and stuff like that. But yeah, if you don't really like do stuff like that on your phone, then you probably don't need to upgrade. It's not really a big deal because the S21 is still very fast for just daily normal use. All right, so let's check out these speakers at max volume. We'll start with the S21. So the speaker upgrade is pretty good. You overall just get a louder speaker on the S25, and then overall the bass is a lot better as well. So I think the speaker quality is definitely improved here. The fingerprint scanner remains untouched as well, guys. It's still very fast on both models here. And I do also want to touch on the AI stuff. All right, so the AI stuff. So you didn't get any of the AI stuff on the S21 Ultra. It got the circle to search stuff, but that's pretty much it. So if you are somebody that really enjoys like the Galaxy AI stuff, so let me go to it. I never really use the AI stuff at all, guys. But you have the interpreter, the writing tools, and all that, the browser assist to summarize pages, audio eraser, and just a bunch of other stuff, the Now Brief, Health Assist. So it does have some cool AI stuff on here. Now you can download ChatGPT on the S21 and you can get, you know, a decent amount of AI features. But yeah, it's not going to be baked into the phone. So yeah, if you are interested in the AI stuff, it is there. But yeah, let's talk about the cameras here. And we do have a, pretty decent camera upgrade. I think the upgrade is really going to come down to what you guys think about the actual image quality in videos. So we do have a 108 megapixel standard on the S21 Ultra. It is a 10 megapixel telephoto, and then we also do have 3x optical, and then we also do have another 10 megapixel periscope telephoto that does 10x optical all the way up to 100 times. And then we also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then we also do have 8K24 video, and with a 40 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. Now you do have a 200 megapixel standard on the S25 Ultra. It's a 10 megapixel telephoto 3x, and then we also do have a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto that does 5x, and then this one also goes up to 100 times zoom. And then we also do have a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and then an 8K24 and 30 video. And then this does have a 12 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60. Be sure to let me know what you guys think of these side-by-side stills and video. So as far as the battery upgrade here, this is actually a very good battery life upgrade. The S25 Ultra's battery life has been very good. Both of these phones have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, but due to the chip efficiency here, you're just going to get better battery life on the S25 Ultra by far, even if you're doing more intense tasks. Now, you do have a difference in charging speeds, the S21 with a 25 watt versus the 45 watt, so you can kind of feel the difference a little bit with charging. And then you also do have wireless and reverse wireless charging on these two phones. So yeah, overall it's a pretty decent upgrade here, but not a super impressive one. If you have an S21 Ultra, it is going to get the Android 15 update, so you could probably keep it for another year, and it'll have that new fresh feel to it. But like I said, if you thought the cameras looked better and you want the S Pen to be built in, or you guys just want the more software updates, to me it really comes down to camera and performance. If you're not a power user, you really probably don't need to upgrade here, because you're not really getting much, especially if you don't want the Galaxy AI features. So it comes down to your personal preference on what you're kind of doing on your phone. But I really think it comes down to cameras, what you guys thought of the cameras. So let me know what you guys think.